Hey everyone, it's Raz from the Semi-Retired Samurai. Welcome back to my channel. And today I want to give you a life lesson on why I left my job at age 35 and why I would do it again at age 56. Now the first point is I'm going to take you back to when I was 35 years old. And from the outside, my life looked perfect. But everything inside felt like there was a disconnect. Now, at the time, I was working at a good government job. I was working for a university, actually, and it had the great benefits. We had good vacation. My education was free. It wasn't a very stressful job. It was basically a 9-to-5 job, Monday to Friday. So there was work balance, but I was there for 2 years and I just didn't feel like that was the place for me. And at the time I was recently married, and my in-laws, they were very much, how should I say, humble people. They worked hard, but they were very conscious of having a secure job. That was important to them. And my wife felt the same thing as well. They like security. They weren't used to someone with entrepreneurial mindset like myself. And so for someone like me, it just seemed like I was taking on a lot of risk. And I guess they were worried about their daughter-in-law, whether we were going to be able to make enough money to survive, and also what would the future hold? Will I be able to hold up my end of the bargain and take care of the family? So those were legitimate concerns that they had. But as I went to the office every day, I used to look out the window and wonder, is this it for me? Is this really where I'm going to end up? 30 years of my life, wait till retirement, and get a good pension. And for a lot of people, that would have been great. But for me, it seemed like a death sentence because I didn't feel like I was growing. And the main thing is I didn't feel like I was fulfilling my true potential. And I look back at my childhood, my upbringing and so forth, and I wondered, what would it be like if I took a chance and fulfilled my dream of becoming a professional martial artist and making a living out of it? Would I regret if I had decided not to pursue it? Would I regret it when I'm 80 or 85, when I'm on my deathbed and wondering what could have been? And so I thought about it and I said, you know what, I feel this deep sense of purpose since I was a child, that I was going to be that much more. I think other kids, they dreamt of becoming a police officer, a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, or some kind of accountant. But for me, I didn't see myself in any of those roles growing up. I never aspired to being one of those or going to university to become a person that worked for somebody. So I always dreamt, I had big dreams. I thought, well, okay, maybe I'll become an actor or something like that. But I want to really do something that I was passionate about, that I enjoyed. And that didn't seem possible for me when I was younger. And that's basically because of my parents. They didn't feel that that was a real career option. And so I decided that day that when I did decide to leave my job, that I was going to take a chance and ignore what everyone was telling me not to do. And for some people, it might say that I was selfish. And for me, the way I looked at it was, for years, for decades, I always tried to make everyone else around me happy, but I was miserable every day. And I thought to myself, well, this is too long to live a life like this in misery. So that day I decided to leave my job and not look back. And I have no regrets doing it. And so that was one of the things that I always keep in mind is we got this long life. Will I be happy doing this, and will I regret if I don't take this action? So the next reason why I left my job at age 35 was I didn't want to have any regrets. And I came across a book at the time, and it was about people that were dying in palliative care. And they were asking elderly people what they regret most. And a lot of them mentioned that they wish they had lived authentically and were more true to themselves instead of listening to other people and to their advice and to what they wanted them to be. And that really resonated with me because I remember my uncle, a story about my uncle when he first came here, and he was helping design the restaurant for my grandfather. And at the time, he was very, 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 very studious, and he's a very bright individual. But he came here at a very young age, like 14. So he had a lot of street smarts. So he designed actually the concept of the restaurant, which was very beautiful at the time. And he was supposed to go to, I think, architecture school. And they told him that that career wasn't possible for someone like him as a Chinese person. You have to understand this was back in the 50s, so there was a lot of racism. And basically, that is what the guidance counselor at school told him. So he gave up his dream of going to university and getting educated, and what he did was he ended up working at a restaurant, and eventually he started getting burnt out from the whole thing and getting a little bit disillusioned. So he ended up working as a waiter till he retired. And I thought to myself, well, that's a very sad story because he didn't get a chance to fulfill his potential. And although he's quite happy towards the end, I often wonder what he thought he could have been. And I thought about that story, and I said, well, there's no way that that's going to be me. So I said to myself that my dream and my happiness is going to supersede everything. And if I didn't make it, at least I gave it a good shot. And to tell you the truth, if I didn't make it, I probably would have went back to work and saved up some money and tried it again, because that's the way, how driven I was and how determined I was to make it on my own. And I look back at my parents and my relatives. When they came here, they didn't have a choice. They had to go to work, earn money, and survive. And I thought to myself, well, I now don't have to do that. I didn't have kids, so I thought, why not take a chance? Because I do have a choice, and I chose to live it according to my terms instead of wasting my life away. And I didn't want to have any regrets. So that's one of the main factors why I left my job at age 35. Now, the next reason why I left my job at age 35 was I wanted to control my life. I didn't want to wake up in the morning, have someone tell me what to do, what time to have lunch, how long I can take vacation, how much I can make. Those all really grinded on me. Now, for a lot of people, they're fine with that. They like the security. But I think one thing I want to say is I think it was an illusion. In fact, a lot of people will say this as well, that when you work for a company or a corporation, that it's secure. And I think my relatives, my in-laws, had a hard time grasping that, because you're not really secure, because your job can be cut anytime. And we're seeing it a lot before. We're seeing it now where people have worked till age 50. They've been with a company for their entire life or for a long time. And then the time comes, they decide they're going to cut you from the position. My brother lost his job a few years ago after spending a lot of time in this company and making them a lot of money. So is it really secure? I prefer to take my chances. I'd rather control my own destiny and have control over my assets. So that was one of the reasons is I want to control my life on my terms. And I have no regrets because I wake up in the morning when I want, unless I have meetings. And I could also take time off when I want and to go do the things I want to do. Was it hard at the beginning? Yes, it was. There's a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of hours that you have to put in, and sometimes you don't see the payback. But after all these years, I wouldn't change a thing. I would do it all over again. And the next reason why I left my job at 35 was having the opportunity to chart my own course and my own destiny. So for the first time, I remember when I woke up that first day and didn't have to report to a job, and the feeling of being free. And at the same time, a little bit of apprehension because it's kind of like, wow, what did I just do? But I felt this great confidence that I was gonna make it. And when I saw that first paycheck come in, and the first client come in, and then more clients come in, I got really excited. And that's when the ball started rolling. And I thought to myself, well, wow, I can't believe that I am getting paid to do this because this is something that I've done for free my entire life, which was, training in martial arts and teaching in martial arts. And the one thing which was great about it was I got to learn so much about business, about marketing, and it stimulated me to go out and learn new things. Because before, when I was doing it for my corporate job, they'll send me to courses, and so many times I'd be bored because I had no interest in it. But now that I was in business, I got to meet other entrepreneurs, learn from them, learn from different resources. So it kind of forced me to really develop myself personally on a professional level that I never thought before, and improve my skills. And that was probably one of the biggest things for me, because when I was growing up, I was very bored at certain school subjects, actually a lot of them. And I wasn't really much into studying a lot. But now I got to pick and choose what I want to study. And the great thing about it was all to help grow my business and my knowledge. And the next reason why I left my job at 35 was having the opportunity to chart my own course and my own destiny. So for the first time, I remember when I woke up that first day and didn't have to report to a job, and the feeling of being free. And at the same time, a little bit of apprehension because it's kind of like, wow, what did I just do? But I felt this great confidence that I was gonna make it. And when I saw that first paycheck come in, and the first client come in, and then more clients come in, I got really excited. And that's when the ball started rolling. And I thought to myself, well, wow, I can't believe that I am getting paid to do this because this is something that I've done for free my entire life, which was, training in martial arts and teaching in martial arts. And the one thing which was great about it was I got to learn so much about business, about marketing, and it stimulated me to go out and learn new things. Because before, when I was doing it for my corporate job, they'll send me to courses, and so many times I'd be bored because I had no interest in it. But now that I was in business, I got to meet other entrepreneurs, learn from them, learn from different resources. So it kind of forced me to really develop myself personally on a professional level that I never thought before, and improve my skills. And that was probably one of the biggest things for me, because when I was growing up, I was very bored at certain school subjects, actually a lot of them. And I wasn't really much into studying a lot. But now I got to pick and choose what I want to study. And the great thing about it was all to help grow my business and my knowledge. Now, the next one on why I left my job at 35 was being my own boss gave me a great sense of accomplishment. And I'll tell you, a lot of people will question your decision when you decide to start your own business and when you decide to go off on your own. You have these ideas. Everyone thinks you're crazy. If you're married, oh, it's even worse because they're wondering how you're going to support your wife, your family. And I think everybody that starts this journey on starting your own business, they all go through that. And I think it's important that you don't take it to heart. I think they have legitimate concerns because they're not used to thinking like that. They're not used to someone saying that, you know what, I'm going to leave my secure job to go off and do something which is not guaranteed to bring in any income's not guaranteed for success. But I always say to myself, well, what if I'm here, I'm just right at the doorstep, and I decide to either go through or I'm going to just stop here and turn back. Would it be better? Like if I were to break through, I would get X amount of income, freedom, and so forth. But if I turn the other way, I will always be down at this level, and I'll never get to see how far I can go. And I think it's probably one of the most rewarding things is when you start having success in your life, success in your business, freedom in your life. I always kept telling my wife because she was worried as well, and she used to say, well, when is this going to happen? And it was a little bit frustrating because you don't know when it's going to happen. When are you going to become a success? And I told her, don't worry about it because I'm going to keep working and eventually I will get there. And when I did finally succeed, I told her, I said, look at us now. Do you remember when I was struggling and I wasn't making a lot of money and times were tough? And we didn't know whether my business was going to succeed or stay viable. Was I going to have to close it down and go back to work? So those things were really real. And for her to be patient and to believe in me, it was probably one of the best feelings. And one of the best feelings is the naysayers who were saying that you were crazy, you weren't going to make it. They're now singing a different tune. And I think what was really, really cool was, I'll tell you a story. When I was traveling one time, I was in another city, and I was at another gym. And this gentleman came up to me and pointed to me, and he said, "Hey, it's Raz." And I said, "Yes, that's me." And he goes, "Oh my God, I follow you on Instagram. I follow your channel and everything. Can I take a picture with you?" I thought, oh yeah, sure, right? I was taken back by it, but I thought, wow, this person recognizes me, and it's another part of the world. And I had a student or a client that moved back to the Philippines, and I contacted her probably a few months later and asked how she's doing. Is she training at another school? And she says, yes, I'm training at another school, and you're famous because when I went to the school, they asked who I trained with. They said, I trained with Raz Chand. And they said, oh yeah, we know him. We follow him on Instagram. So I thought, wow, that's halfway around the world. And I thought, wow, that's so cool that you can, you can make such an impact on the lives of people through video and all these things that I never thought that I would be able to do if I was still back working at my regular job. And the last thing I want to talk about on why I left my job is making an impact on this world? And what kind of legacy am I going to leave? Now, when I was growing up, I was quite just a regular, normal person. I wasn't overly popular. I was just one of those people, just, unassuming. And I guess probably looking back at it, people probably wouldn't really remember me so much because I was just working all the time and just minding my own business. And I thought, I was such a dreamer as a kid. And now I said to myself, okay, what do I want to do in my life? Because I have X amount of time on this earth. Am I just going to go and just live my life, earn my salary, go home, buy the house, raise a family, get married, and then retire and go on my life? But I thought, to me that was quite boring. So I thought, what? I want to use my influence, my talents to help others. And that's what I did. I started to use my influence locally to help out underprivileged kids, feeding kids from homes that were low income, and to help kids from low income families to strive to be better. I helped build and funded a robotics lab for a school, which helped kids who were from low-income families learn how to build robots and so forth. And that was really, really cool because I got to go and see the lab in action once it was built, and to see the kids that from these low-income families that weren't attending school because they were bored or they had trouble at home, now taking an active interest in robotics. And I realized the impact that one can make on an individual, on a group of people. So I think by being an entrepreneur and having the funds to do these kinds of things really can make an impact on others' lives. And I'm still not going to stop there because I know that there's more to be done. I really have a soft spot for kids from low-income families because I came from a low-income family when I was younger, and I knew what it was like to not be able to partake in a lot of events because of your financial circumstances. So that is my story, and that is the reason why I left my job at age 35, and I have no regrets at this age. And if you're thinking about doing it and you're listening to this video, hopefully that gives you some kind of idea and inspires you to take action if you're sitting on the fence. So if you like what I've talked about today, or if you like my other content, please feel free to like and subscribe. And hey, feel free to check out the videos that I have, and I will see you next time. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.